A lathe is a machine that rotates the workpiece about an axis of rotation to perform various operations such as turning, undercutting, knurling, drilling, facing, and boring. The cutting edges of tools are applied to the workpiece to create an object with symmetry about that axis. A single-point tool is used for general work purpose, but for special operations, multi-point tools may use. In a lathe machine work, different operations require different types of lathe cutting tools, according to the process of use. So in this video, we'll look at the different types of lathe cutting tools that are used for various operations. Turning tool. There are mainly two classes of turning tool: rough turning tool and finish turning tool. The main function of a rough turning tool is to remove the maximum amount of metal in minimum time that the tool, work, and the machine will permit. The cutting angle is so ground that it can withstand maximum cutting pressure. Finished turning tool is used to remove the very small amount of metal. A tool angle is so ground that it can produce a very smooth and accurate surface. Chamfering tool. Straight turning tools are also used as a chamfering tool when the cutting edges are set at an angle of the chamfer. Where a large number of chamfer works are to be performed, a special chamfering tool with its side cutting edge angle ground to the angle of the chamfer is used. Shoulder turning tool. A beveled shoulder may be turned by a straight turning tool having a side cutting edge angle and zero nose radius. A filleted shoulder is turned by a straight tool with the nose radius corresponding to the fillet radius of the work. Thread cutting tool. Metric BSW or American V-thread are formed by a single-point thread cutting tool. Its cutting edges sharpen to the shape and size of the thread that is to be cut. The size or cross-section of the cutting edges of the tool depends upon the pitch of the thread. So for machining different screw threads, having different pitches, separates tools are used to produce accurate threads. The nose of the tool is pointed flat or rounded according to the shape of the root of the thread. A thread tool gauge is used to check the shape and size of the tool after it has been ground. Tool for cutting square threads. The side clearance of the tool for cutting square thread is of prime importance in order to prevent the tool from interfering or rubbing against the vertical flank of the thread. The width of the cutting edge should be equal to half the pitch of the thread. Small clearance angle of 1 degree to 2 degrees are provided at the side of the tool to prevent the surface from ribbing with the work. Internal thread cutting tool. The cutting edge of the tool is exactly similar to an external thread cutting tool, but the front clearance angle is sufficiently increased, as in a boring tool. The tool is a forge type, or bit type, and held on a boring bar. The point of the tool must be set square with the work. Facing tool. A facing tool removes metal by its side cutting edges, so no top rake is necessary in a facing tool. It is used for reducing the length of the workpiece by feeding the perpendicular to the lathe axis. The cutting edge of the tool should set to the same height as the center of the workpiece. Grooving tool. Grooving tool is similar to a parting off tool. The cutting edges are made square, rounded, or V-shape according to the shape of the groove to be cut. Forming tool. An ordinary lathe turning tool may sever the purpose where a copying attachment is used to reproduce the form of a template. These tools have their cutting edges ground to the shape of the groove, undercut, or thread to be cut. Flat dovetail forming tools have a wider cutting edge corresponding to the shape desired. Dovetail end of the tool is fitted in a special tool holder. No front rake is provided, but sufficient front clearance angle is given. Regrinding is always done on the top face of the tool, which does not alter the form of the tool. Boring tool. A boring tool is similar to a left-hand external turning tool, so far its cutting edge is concerned. The tool may be a bit type inserted in a boring bar or holder, or forged type having a tool shank. A boring bar is made of mild steel with slots, or holes, cut into it, to accommodate the tool bit, which is locked by an Allen screw. The amount of projection of the cutting edge of the tool, from the center of the bar, determines the finished hole diameter of the work. The bit is generally inserted at right angles to the center line of the bar, for boring a continuous hole, passing from one end to the other end. Counter-boring tool. The counter-boring operation can be performed by an ordinary boring tool. The tool cutting edge is so ground that it can leave a shoulder after turning. A counterbore having multiple cutting edges is commonly used in industries. Undercutting tool. Undercutting tool has a point and form of the cutting edge, exactly similar to the form of the required groove. Clearance angle is given at all the sides of the tool. For the recessing groove cutting edge, the longitudinal feed is employed. The front clearance angle depends upon the bore of the work. Parting off tool. A parting off tool is normally forged and used as bits for cemented carbide tipped tools. Parting off tool is made as narrow as possible to remove the minimum of metal. As the tool cuts deep into the work, clearance is provided all around the tool cutting edge to prevent it from rubbing against the work surface. The tool is purely ended cutting. It has no side rake. Slight back rake is provided on the tool to promote an easy flow of the ships. There is wide range of lathe tools are used in a lathe machine for various operations. But do you know? In order to use these lathe tools, you'll need a best piece of information on different lathe machines that are used for shaping wood, metal, and other materials work purposes. Check out this video and find out about different types of lathe machines that are available to use.